What up, peeps? We got the SEC Connect. We got 3 out of 5 here. Jay is on his way. Look, man, like, comment, subscribe, share the channel. You guys know I'm a Texas fan. Steven's a Texas fan. Chris and Jay are OU fans, and Ty's a Bama fan. It was a lot of hell in our households this weekend.
Yo, look at our faces. Look at the three people on here.
I can't even talk shit to Chris.
Chris.
because-
I wanted to. I've been wanting to mess with Steven so much, not even about Texas, but about the Cowboys. But it's been times where I just I pick up the phone to just shoot out a text or a tweet, and I just put the phone down. I'm like, it ain't even worth it, man. No lie.
Hey, bruh,
Come on.
check on a friend these days, man. We
Yeah.
all need it. Check on a friend. Hey, Chris and Chris and Nino.
Yeah.
Question for the panel, or for the five of us. I know 3 of us are here. Have all of us ever been down bad at the same time?
At the same time?
Bruh.
Hell no.
Since we've all been friends and business partners, have we? Oh, Surfer Boy, my God.
He coming.
Talk
Surfer got
about time.
receipts.
Surfer Boy was on time.
He got
today.
receipts.
Goodness. No, but seriously, since we've all known the 5 of us, have all nobody's up right now.
No.
Collectively down bad.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Look, Ty might be in the worst situation because they talk about and they want to fire the coach.
Now watch, Bama gonna fucking win out. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse yet. We gotta wait 5 minutes. But hey, man, Bama gonna win out, and they already talk about firing the board. They ain't gonna win out though. They ain't gonna win out. But
He can't lose this week, especially since they said Brady Cook's probably not going to play.
he can't let Missouri beat them without Cook.
I don't think it's going to happen.
They look dysfunctional.
They look bad.
We look
bad.
They look bad.
Oh, you look bad. It's bad.
It's bad. Well, guys, here's the topics that we kind of want to talk about here, man. Texas and Georgia recap, Bama and Tennessee recap, and then Chris, we got this question for you and Jay, man. Is OU in a rebuild? Very interesting question.
Get after that. Yeah. Rest in peace, Seth Luttrell.
Oh, damn. That man didn't make it 7 games?
No, man. Theoretically, in paper, before the season, it should have worked, but there's some things we'll talk about that as far as the real question.
Okay. Hey, all right, man. Let's talk about Texas and Georgia recap. Started off number 1 versus number 5. Texas, hosts Georgia. First time Georgia came down in 60 years. Man, I'm gonna start this now, Steven, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Usually I pass this
I'm here
off
for
to
you,
you,
brother.
but Texas defense came and played. Ty, what's going on, Ty?
What's going on? Let me get all this situated.
Yeah, look, man, Texas defense came to play. Carson Beck had 3 picks, only 179 yards passing. Steven, 175.
They didn't have 300 yards total offense.
They didn't have 300 yards total offense. Texas's defense on the scoring drives for Georgia. I think Georgia's first 5 drives, I think Nash sent me the stat. Was it 13 yards, 24, 25, and then 4? Like, that's the field position that was gifted to Georgia. Man, shout out to Georgia though, man. Like, they came and took it. I rewatched the game twice already.
Salute, Surfer Boy.
Yeah, man. I watched it twice already. I know I'm a glutton for pain. And I thought the Texas offensive line played horrible on first sight. When you rewatch that game, that Texas offensive line did not play that bad at all. And, this is something that me and Steven are probably getting to about the quarterback position. Like stepping up into the pocket. And that's something that didn't happen a lot. And it cost us a few drives. Texas was in that game, man. It was 23-15?
23-15 at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
And had a shot, man. And they had a shot. So, hey, shout out to Georgia, though, man. Surfer Boy, run a lap, man. Like around us. Throw the horns down if you want to. I get it, man. You guys played a hell of a game plan by Kirby and his team. Defense was lights out, too, as well. Georgia's offense still has to get things clicking too. That's one thing that is still kind of mystifying to me. It's the offense, man. But I think UT beat themselves, but I think Georgia just came and took it too, man. Like all credit to Georgia, man. Hell of a game though, hell of an environment, and Texas made it the game at the end. But that one last touchdown kind of put it over the top, man. Steven, how about you, man?
So I was there, man. Unbelievable atmosphere. I want to start there because I was talking about that just now on Bleacher Report at the end of my show tonight, and I'll remember that game for the rest of my life. I did watch Michael Williams as well as Jalen Walker's podcast on the Players Lounge this week, and they said the same thing. They said it was for various reasons why they will never forget that game, and they talked about Kirby Smart in that third quarter telling them to put their helmets on the sideline when the stuff started coming down from the field, and they said that for like 30 seconds they were like, we had no idea what the hell to do, and it was crazy, like how crazy it was. I felt that way as a fan, but the environment, I don't think I've ever, and I've been to DKR for some big games over the recent years. I don't think I've seen it like that. It was so electric pregame, 30 minutes before, the Georgia fans barking. I'd never been to a Georgia football game. Yeah. I know they bark like that, but that's freaking dope, dog. They talk, they bark nonstop like a pack of dogs for those who've never been around Georgia fans. And they talk their talk, but they also know ball, and I didn't have no issues or anything before, during, and after the game. In terms of the game itself, Nino, I agree with a lot of what you said. Georgia brought the fight. Kirby talked about intent. He talked about hunting and eating what you kill, and ultimately respect. And when those words resonate with a young football team. And I had Vashawn and Chris on from the Unfiltered Longhorn Talk yesterday on my channel, and they talked about that Michael Jordan psychological element of disrespect and channeling that. And Kirby Smart's ability to do that as a head coach is very impressive, because Michael Williams said they had practices that they had not had all year, including the Bama week, the secondary, everything, the way that they were just, and how it carried over into in-game execution was remarkable, and they did a great job executing their game plan. I thought Steve Sarkisian got out coached, but I didn't think he did a poor job coaching. Okay, there were several opportunities there that Quinn Ewers, when he was in there, he had a terrible football game. Arch Manning had opportunities when he got in there. He didn't pull the trigger yet. I mean, we're talking about butt booty, naked, wide open people still.
Dude, he had Cook,
but they had to be on progressions.
Yeah,
right. Hey guys, we're playing Georgia this week. Guess what? First read's not going to be wide open. You're going to have to actually play football this week. And I think that place of uncomfort that Georgia got knocked to in the Bama game, that's what happened to us. I thought we fought in the third quarter. I wanted to see us come out. When you're down 23-0 at home, people are asking questions, man. When the quarterback's getting benched, people are asking questions. And so one of the things I said, and I texted to the group chat and all that, come out and run the football.
Yeah.
Come out. I don't care if we win or not. You need to reestablish your own self and your own physicality. And I thought Texas was able to do that in the second half. There's a lot of excuses about who's available, who's not. But toughness-wise, Texas needed to reestablish that. The defense did that all night.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm happy with how they fought. But we have questions around this quarterback going into this weekend, going to Nashville. Who's going to show up, right? And now it's not just Texas fans asking those questions; it's the national media asking those questions. So, we shall see. But I want to hear from the non-Texas folks here in terms of their analysis on the game.
Yeah, I got the all 22, and I think Steve, you said something 100% right. Sark got out coached, but I don't think Sark coached bad. Their defense had y'all in hell, actual hell. Mm-hmm. Quinn is great, and Jant said this. Coach Sean said this. Coach Al said this. Jance played some college ball. Coach Sean played some college ball. Coach Al, one of his guys that he coached with, is currently, I believe, the defensive coordinator with Boston College. Quinn is great pre-snap, but Georgia did something that Bama did to Carson Beck. You can be great pre-snap. How are you post-snap?
Mm-hmm.
He's not the greatest post-snap in reading, right? Like, Georgia showed you one thing, and then right as they
Changed
were
the
snapping,
picture.
changed it. And not only that, I do think Georgia did a great job in film. So whoever was leading these film sessions, like that one interception where they saw that guy cutting in, I know that CJ with On Texas Football was like, oh, well, Gunnar Helm has to stem it outside. It wouldn't have mattered. If you read the
He's
cornerback's
throwing that
language,
pick.
he was going there regardless of what the tight end did. So that's not the case. Watch the cornerback. He was going there. Yeah, Texas's defense is great. I can't, like, I said in preseason that Andrew Makuba was going to be one of the biggest transfer portal additions in the entire year. He absolutely is. Texas is still a great team, right? Like, there's no doubt about that. But Killa, one thing I disagree with you on is you said Georgia didn't respect Bama. They have no choice. They're 1-9. They absolutely respect Bama, but riddle me this. What makes more sense, that they don't respect Bama, or if they drop another game, all of a sudden it gets near impossible to get to that SEC championship? Because guess who's undefeated in the SEC?
LSU and A&M.
A&M, those two.
There we go. So you drop 2 SEC games? I don't think it's disrespect. I think it's desperation.
And it's almost November.
Yep.
Yes, right? So, like, Texas still in great position. Georgia still in great position. LSU, A&M, great position. But teams like Bama, for instance, they have to hope that a lot of stuff shakes their way in order to even sneak. And, I mean, it would have to be like a catastrophic meltdown of Texas dropping some games, Georgia dropping some games.
A&M and LSU dropping.
So yeah. So
That'd be a lot.
I don't know that it was Georgia not respecting Bama. I think it's that Georgia is in a totally different position now that they were in that game, to where their margin of error is not there. But Texas, I thought that. Yeah, I mean, y'all's defense is so damn impressive, man. Just so damn impressive.
Ty, can I add something to that about what Killa said in regards to Georgia versus Bama? You know what the difference was? Was Alabama in the first half? Georgia played with a similar – I thought Georgia played with a similar intensity defensively versus Bama.
Well, we have an X factor in Milroe.
Milroe, you cannot play that defense versus Milroe the way you can against Quinn.
Yep.
And Georgia was able to either Milroe, is either able to buy time for those secondary reads, or he was executing and hitting that stuff. Yep. We weren't executing that stuff. Milroe was playing at you can beat Georgia's defense, but you gotta execute at a high level. I said on another chat, you gotta play like CJ Stroud played in the bowl game a few years ago.
Oh man.
That's how you play
lost,
Georgia.
But I mean, he was exceptional. He was exceptional.
Where you just it's NFL type windows and it's NFL type timing. Quinn was not on that. And platform.
Arch is just young. Like
Arch is young. Yeah, he hadn't seen none of that.
Young.
Yeah.
And Georgia. Listen, I had picked Texas to win by 7 to 10 points in this game, so I can't sit here and be like, oh well, this is. No, Georgia was highly impressive. I thought Texas's defense is who we thought they were. The only thing I can say is that from Texas's offensive perspective, y'all haven't faced a defense. Michigan's good, OU's good, but they're both outside the top, I believe, 50 defenses in the country. Georgia's 25th. But it's not even the rankings. It's what do you do? The way they play. It's tough. I mean, it's tough for anybody out there. Like you said it best, man. Milroe had the best game of his career against Georgia, which is also one of the reasons, guys, I have a bone to pick with PFF. right? Like I think that PFF is just awful because after that game,
PFF college is
it's terrible. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
That was the week that y'all played Mississippi State. Arch was unbelievable that game. But Arch had a higher grade than Jalen Milroe. And the reason why is they said that the 6 carries he had for 30 yards against Mississippi State was a higher rush grade than Jalen Milroe rushing for 120 yards against Georgia. And that's where I was like, this is peak unserious behavior. But dude, yeah, I still think if you're Texas, you're flying high.
Yeah, we're good.
Great fight in the second half. There's not many defenses that do what they do. So I still think y'all are in the driver's
seat. You don't have a concern about Quinn moving forward? Quinn's not going to see the defense like that again.
I do.
But he didn't play well in the OU game.
Nope.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my advice to you going into Vandy. Don't get down. Because that option-based offense of Vandy, it is unbelievably difficult to come back on because of the way they operate. But y'all's defense is fantastic, right? Offensively, I'm not saying that it's all in la land, but this has always kind of been my critique of Quinn. And I said this last year, and I know it angered a lot of Texas fans, and I'm not trying to say I was right, but I said he wouldn't go to the draft last year. Y'all called me an idiot. Right now I'm about to bat 2 for 2. He's a part-time employee. You don't know. Yeah, you don't know who you're going to get. He is a part-time employee.
Yeah. So I said that on this channel last year.
Yeah.
I got called an idiot, but like I have no bias in this. I want Quinn to succeed, but damn it, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. But y'all are going to be fine. I'm not worried. Like, I know y'all might be a little bit worried. It's Sark. Y'all are going to bounce back.
I'm not worried. My thing is, when is Quinn going to, I guess, trust the coaching that he's getting? Right? It's either you get, either you have it or you don't. There's some plays there that he missed where he was either too afraid to step into the pocket and take that hit, or he just doesn't want to do it. I would want to say it's the first because he probably doesn't want to get re-injured. I'm hoping it's that he doesn't want to do it. But we can't be talking about the same thing for a starting quarterback in year 3. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the biggest problem. And then, what Ty was saying about the part-time thing, right? He's totally true. I mean, Quinn hasn't been healthy for a complete season since his sophomore year in high school, if you want to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? He played in his junior year. He had a hernia, state championship game, goes to Ohio State. He gets COVID, so he didn't play for the first month or two. Comes to Texas, has the Bama game, gets hurt. He's injured. Last year, he's hurt too. We had Murphy had to come in and save us against Houston, and then had to come in and actually win. What was it, 2 games, Stephen Forrest too?
Kansas State and BYU.
Yep. And then now, this year, Arch had to, start a couple games and come in and play after Quinn got hurt in the 3rd game of the season. And then he comes back, and I was hoping it was rust against OU because he didn't look good against OU at all. But it doesn't look like it's rust. It looks like something's up. He just has happy feet, and he doesn't have the poise in the pocket that, yes, I'm going to say it, everybody on the panel and everybody in the chat. Don't get mad at me, chat, but I'm gonna say it. This is why NFL scouts love Shedeur Sanders, because his offensive line is not the best, and he stands in that pocket and he delivers dimes and gets his ass whooped every game. That's what makes him the number 1 quarterback prospect in the country, because he knows how to operate an offense under pressure and when you're in duress. And that's what you need in the NFL, because everybody's a 5-star in the NFL, right? So, but yeah, that's Quinn in a nutshell, man. So, Chris, what about you, man?
I think first off, I think you guys need to know that there was a couple of game balls that should have been handed out, and one of them was to Trevor Etienne. He kept that offense going. He made some big plays when it mattered, and he kept the chains moving an awful lot. Definitely a good, really, he's starting to come into his own in that offense. He really is. I think that we can all on this panel, we can all say this and say it loudly. I think Ty will back me up on this. Hopefully he does. Carson Beck is not a day one pick. He's not a first round guy. I'm sorry.
He has 10 picks so far this year.
Yeah,
10, right?
He's shown that an awful lot this season. That
you switch up the look post snap and it's done so.
Well,
eight picks.
Not only that, but it's just one of those things where I go back to what I said a while ago, pissing people off and people saying I was crazy before the season started. This offense is different. You don't lose Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, continuity pieces, tremendous pieces, guys who are getting snaps, legitimate snaps in the NFL.
Chris, they're the number one targets on their teams in the NFL.
Exactly.
Both of them.
Yeah. So, which is crazy. I was not thinking Ladd would be that. But
you don't lose that and then automatically go. We all know that they have speed. We all know that they have guys. I wish Evans was at OU. The same thing he's doing at Georgia, he'd be doing here. Because it's what's the difference, right? Delp, I know you guys told me that he was really good, this and that. He's not Brock Bowers. There are certain pieces of this offense that are missing. They're still trying to come into their own. I know those guys are talented, but that's kind of what you have to do. But what he's seeing post-snap, I don't know. On the other side of the ball, looking at Quinn Ewers, it's one of those things where when I saw Arch go into the game, I said, is Sark? Sark is doing one thing. I will say this right here, and this is what I commend him on. It's kind of a love and hate thing, I think, for Texas fans. Bear with me. It seems like you remember a couple of years ago when y'all were kind of going through the motions, and it just seemed like in the second half or whenever he got out of his script, like his base script, like things were
first year. Yeah, I think it was his first year. The second
it
half
would be kind of wonky, right?
Yeah,
but he's trying to fix that. He's trying to address that, right? Mm-hmm. And it seemed like that's what the move was more in hindsight, opposed to, I think Sark is desperate, me just being a hater, right? I'm like, no, I think Sark is trying to give Quinn a breather, bring him back in, but also trying to see, do I have a spark? Do I have some juice here with Archie, right? But and I was like, okay, I understand that. I respect that. I just felt like at some point your defense was putting you in prime position, but when you couldn't move the ball, seeing what Georgia was doing defensively and all the rest of this stuff. Ty, if you don't want to piss him off, I'll piss him off because I've said this about Quinn 1,000 times before. Quinn is in his third year, people. He's in his third year. It's time for him in games like this, in games like the Washington game last year. He has a great command of this offense. As much as I hate on Quinn, Quinn is a very talented quarterback. He needs to elevate this team sometimes at some points, put the team on his back and say, hey, I got us. He's got to do that for Texas to go to where they want to go. He hasn't done that yet. Not necessarily in this season. I haven't seen it. I know he's been out, whatever the case may be, kind of going through things or whatever, but it just feels like it's same old, same old. So when is he going to actually say, hey, I'm going to put the team on my back and go here? Because we've seen it in some games. We've seen it in key places. The way he played against Michigan, that was brilliant ball. That was like Joe Burrow-esque type ball if you watch the way he's
moving in the pocket. Unbelievable.
It was his pocket presence was amazing that game. But you go to this Georgia game and you're just like, hey, bro, like something's got to give. So
it didn't look like the same football player.
Yeah, you guys had the weapons, you had the opportunities. Momentum was lost. You got down 23-0. All the rest of that stuff happened. It just went downhill.
But they fought back though. 23-15. They had a shot.
Back. Y'all fought back, but I will say that Georgia defense early on, especially that first half, they smelled blood and they jumped into what they jumped after.
Didn't Texas have 38 yards in the first half?
Yeah,
we had 2 yards rushing. Yeah, 30. Yeah,
that's an unbelievable defense.
But I mean, it's one loss. It's something that Sark can literally go back into your locker room and say, "Hey, reset. It is what it is now. We trying to win, right? 5-1, 6-1, whatever you guys are. Like it is what it is. Let's go win. Let's go do what we need to do. Let's get back to what we need to do. But at times, I will say, I do feel like there was a time or two where Sark was just a little bit too cute for my liking. I was like, nah, Sark, you can run the ball. You can run. You can do just like
Yeah.
You can be physical. Don't let them out physical you. They can be a bully. And I felt like that at certain times. I was like, don't get cute with the play calling. Stick with what you're doing. And I really wish. I know that's not. I know Sark's offense is friendly. It can do a lot of different things, but I wish there would have been like a true focus on not necessarily trying to win with the big plays here and there or often or whatnot. Just a true focus on let's just move the ball and open this defense up because you can do that against Georgia. Because if you move the ball against them and you can show them, hey, we can run intermediary routes all day and we can run the ball, that defense is going to start to relax a little bit up front and say, okay, we need to figure out what we're doing right here in the secondary and go from there. Because that's kind of, to me, that's where you're attacking them. But I just felt like at times the play calling got a little bit too cute. But, I mean, it's one game.
Chris, real quick, what you're describing is what people's frustration was with the NFL at the beginning of this season. Because Georgia's sitting in too high, they're playing man underneath, and what you're describing is how to beat that defense. Is basically being patient, taking what they give you, and staying balanced and running the football, right? And moving the football. So I mean, it was designed to slow down Patrick Mahomes, by the way.
Yeah.
That like too high's been around forever, but it came back in vogue to slow down Mahomes. And then in turn, it slow down the rest of the league. And what has Kansas City had to start doing? Turning around and handing the ball off, right? To move the ball.
There's nothing wrong with working the field.
And Sark didn't want to do it until the third quarter. So it's like, that's exactly what you're describing is exactly what they if they could do it again, they should be like, hey, you know what? If it's 1st and 10 and we have a run up the middle for 2 yards, that's fine. And we have another run for 3 yards, it's 3rd and 5. It's not the end of the world, right? But we got because Kirby and them were hunting for those negatives. Yeah. They were hunting for -6, -7 to get you into 2nd and forever, 3rd and forever. And that's where they really got their explosive chunk plays. You know, there was a question from Hornsby there.
Yeah.
They asked the panel.
Hey, man. Hey. Great post here about H. Posto. He says Sark needs to be more 50-50 or 40-60 pass run, balanced in the first half. And that's a really good, comment because I just went back and looked. We had 34 plays on offense, for Texas here in the first half. Folks, I'm counting from my stats here 9 or 10 runs out of those 34 in the first half.
And you want to know where that makes it even more of a downside for Sark? What's his offense based off of? Play action.
Yep. And you can't play action on it.
If you don't show them I'm going to run the football, they're not going to bite on play action. They're going to pin their ears back and just go.
They bypassed it every time, Ty.
Yeah, you that's
And they didn't respect it. They didn't respect it.
Can I jump in here real quick? There's one thing I want to point out about like the Georgia defense. This is where I thought that you guys may have a lot of success running. I was like, it could go either way. I was like, either they're going to be dominant on defense or Texas is going to be able to move some people and be able to run kind of towards the edges. And the reason why I'm saying that is because sometimes, like when you watch that Georgia defense, like especially the jackbackers or whenever they're bringing their edges, they line up so damn wide. And so I thought, okay, Banks.
You got lanes.
I'm like, hey, they can push them out. That's going to give somebody like Blue, who is not a dancer, who is not an East-West guy. He's a North-South guy. He hits the hole. He's going. I was like, that could cause some problems.
Chris, guess what? Guess how many? Chris, this is a question for Chris. How many carries did Blue have in the game? To your point.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not even thinking.
No. He had 0.
He had absolutely 0 carries.
No, because what you said is correct.
Yeah.
And our counter to that was he gets no carries. He only had catches.
Well, listen.
And he was explosive in the catching. He was explosive in the receiving game, but
y'all's frustration is justified. Against Bama was killing Georgia getting to the edge in the first half. Georgia, unbelievable adjustments defensively in the second half. They said, you know what? We're not going to let you get the edge anymore. Bama didn't run it up the middle.
Yeah.
And when they did run it up the middle, there were 2 first downs that they didn't convert where Justice Haynes had the first down and then just stops and tries to jump cut backwards when he could have just taken an angle and gotten it. 4th down. Then Jam Miller, same thing. Clear 1st down, and he tries to bust the edge, and Georgia was waiting.
They're waiting for him.
That was the same thing that happened in the second half versus Bama. Now, they did things to adjust for Bama that were unbelievable. But this is the thing, guys. This is why preseason, whenever we were talking about Alabama, they were like, we talk about this on my show, and shout out to Jake. His game that Alabama couldn't lose was Georgia. And my point against it was like, if there's a game on the schedule I'm most comfortable losing, it's to Kirby Smart in Georgia, right? Like, the guy is unbelievable. He is such a good coach. So for Texas, and I know it's kind of a roundabout thing, but, Steve, you asked, is there a concern moving forward? I think that you kind of realize, in a way, this was a great look in the mirror, right? And being like, oh, this is the glaring thing we need to do. Mm-hmm. But would you rather look in the mirror and see 1 blemish or 100 blemishes? And if I'm Texas, I'm looking in that mirror and I see 1 blemish, and I take that.
Hey, you know what, though? What's crazy about this is these teams are damn near mirror images of themselves, to be honest with you.
Very much so.
Inconsistent quarterback play, great defense. The difference in the game was Georgia was able to run the ball. But look here, Dan has a great comment here. He says Sark wants to throw deep balls, and I wanted to bring up a comment that Steven wanted to talk about. Where's that start comment I had from Hornsby? Hold on. Let me see.
It was a question for the panel.
And this is why I've always been so excited. And I was excited for if this was the year Quinn was able to hit deep balls, because y'all haven't seen all of Sark yet. Mm-mm. Until you can hit a deep throw, Sark is pulling punches, because I'm telling you, man, you get that quarterback that hits the deep shot, boy, Sark becomes hell.
Which is what brings us to this next question, because we know what Arch does very well in this offense is throw the deep ball. So Josh Hornsby has a question here for the panel. If we see Georgia again, do you think Arch offers us a better opportunity to win because of his mobility? That's a check mark, because he can run the ball, and he does have the best deep ball, also on the team. He said that we saw that Milrose helped Bama, and it's about matchups this year. Steven, what do you think about that one?
So my counter to this is with Arch. If it was Arch in year 3, absolutely. But because he is not, one of the things you saw in the game, Arch actually missed some reads, right? Like, he had a deep one. He tried to go deep to, I think, Golden or Bonner.
It was more, but Cook was like underneath.
Was clearing.
He was clearing underneath.
Clearing wide open underneath, and that's a read he should make. But he had been hitting on that deep one all year, because that's a tendency. The other thing that you noticed with Arch was the game was moving fast. We came out, we actually tried to run play action to Ty's point earlier. Georgia bypassed it because we hadn't established any type of run game. So that doesn't help Arch. His back is turned. He turns around, and Jalen Walker's in his face. Bam! Good morning. Right? And it's like, right? So, and the other thing, too, and then a different play, Arch finally got to see, like, all right, bro, this isn't Isidore Newman. You're not going to – he saw Big Boy, and he thought he could run away from Big Boy. And he didn't realize that Big Boy also runs like a 4.5.
Yeah,
and probably faster than him, and walked him down in the open field. So these are things you gotta experience and go through. As much as Arch has played this year, Arch has not played that.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Let me play devil's advocate. Okay, all my Sooner fans don't hate me for this, but I think that you could find some success with
Arch.
With Arch, not necessarily running him. I don't want him to get hurt. Right. I don't want him to be susceptible to any big hits or whatever the case may be. But what I would say is that a change up as far as running some bootleg passes, doing different things like that, as far as running a little bootleg, and it's not going to be a traditional bootleg. It's going to be Sark's bootleg. So it's going to be something that's a bit exotic, maybe has a little bit something to it, but it's going to give them a different look to where they can't sit there and run what they ran this past Saturday. I think he offers you guys the ability to be a little bit more flexible with what you want to do because of his legs.
That is true.
But it's not going to necessarily be in the way that you think, oh, that's just going to be big open running lanes for him to run through. No, it's going to be him moving the pocket, getting out, hitting guys, quick throws, kind of getting that secondary, making Georgia early and often adjust that secondary and making them think while that front seven is trying to figure out, okay, how do we really want to attack him? Kind of doing that and playing a mind game with that can kind of really
ease out.
One more thing I want to add.
It's not something that's going to last, though, but it's something that could. It's a good look to probably show them. Steven?
One quick thing I wanted to add to your point, Chris, because you're right.
Yeah.
In two-man, with people's backs are turned, the one thing that Arch can do, and he did it for the 20-yard, is step up and get out of there.
Yeah.
When people backs are turned, you're taught that as a quarterback, by the way. If you can run, just take it, right? Because no one's paying, unless there's a spy, no one's even seeing you. So that is something that Arch can do right now that Quinn cannot do.
Yeah.
So that is a value.
But here's the problem, though. Quinn can do it. I'm not saying running like
not
that.
If
I'm
he's
saying
injured.
as far as a new.
I don't want Quinn leaving the pocket.
I don't
no offense,
either.
the man is made of glass.
He can do it.
He showed that last year. He ran for a 30-yard touchdown last year, but he's not healthy, so he can't.
Y'all know how I feel. I don't want Quinn running at all.
And to your point, I agree with Steven here. From the sense, Chris, you're right about everything you said. Like, you are 100% correct about everything you said. But if you're facing Georgia again, Arch is going to have some success in the first quarter, maybe even in the second quarter. Halftime's going to come. Kirby's going to say, enough of that shit. We're going to put a spy on him. And those Georgia linebackers, they're fast. They're real fast. All right? Like, their sideline to sideline is dumb. Texas, y'all have got some dumb fast linebackers where it's just like, this guy was a safety 10 years ago, and now he has the ability to just wallop you in the face. By the way, shout out Jahdae Barron.
Oh, man, game ball.
What up? That guy right there. I said this, Truth will back me up on this. He was my favorite player on your defense when he was the nickel, because I loved the cerebral nature he played with, and for him to move to outside and just, dare I say, play better than what I already thought he was doing, which was playing at an elite level, is incredible. But the point I'm going with here is, I think, Chris, you're right. It would lead to early success. But then when Georgia says, enough of this, takes that away, they're going to be able to do that while still showing you something pre-snap and changing it post-snap. And that's real tough it's real tough for any quarterback, but a young quarterback. Like, listen, Arch is going to be hell for defenses next year. There is no doubt in my mind about that. I was one of the people who called a lot of these people saying that he would be a 3-star, if not for his last name, an idiot. Because I thought Arch was every bit of a 5-star. Now, in fairness, I did say, if you don't think he's the number one quarterback in the class, that's fine. But he's a 5-star quarterback.
He's in a special class.
That was always my point, right? Like, if you want to argue, the ranking of these guys, fine. But he's it's what Georgia does is why I would lean with Steven in saying, like, as right as you are, my question would happen, what happens at halftime? Whenever Georgia makes those adjustments, and then what?
It's interesting. But hey, folks, we spent about almost 40 minutes on this.
Hey, one last thing.
Go ahead.
One last thing. Now, this is the hater comment I got. Steven, Nick, y'all got to tell that one corner that y'all got, stop doing that lazy shit over there. I hate watching I'm like, bro, like, come on, don't telegraph it, man. Somebody gonna come after you one of these days. Cause like, he's standing straight up like he Ashton Genty, and he just over here just like, he started walking the other way. I'm like, stop doing that, bro.
Hey, that's a bad man, though. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a bad man.
I'm like, hey, you
come on, Manny.
That's a bad man.
You guys wish you had him.
Yeah, 100%.
Chris. No, I'm talking about Chris.
But I told you this last year whenever he committed to Texas. Like, damn, that's one cornerback in this class I really wanted.
Manny's good.
100%.
Yeah, we're talking about Jahdae one more time. Yeah, hey, man, Jahdae Barron, him coming back to Texas this year, his draft stock has risen from 3rd or 4th round into a 1st round grade right now. the kid's shown just how versatile he is, going from a nickel guy to now playing boundary, but also dropping back and playing safety. He's a Swiss Army knife there in the backfield, man. So his draft stock has completely risen. He has a first round grade on himself right now. So so great out to Jade. Go ahead, Stewie.
10 seconds before we go to the next topic. Surfer Boy said it earlier. I did notice it that Georgia did spy Quinn on third down. They had a quarterback spy in 2-man on Quinn, even though he wasn't running. They had him mirroring the line of scrimmage.
Georgia does that, yeah.
That's how in Kirby's bag. By the way, the whole Georgia defensive brain trust deserves credit. Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann, T. Rob, Will Muschamp. They have a
dumb staff.
That's
ridiculous.
Somebody said they got the Avengers of defense over there. They showed out. Okay,
they do.
When they threw that spy out there, that was some next level ish.
Yeah. So hold on. So this is the last thing. Did Kirby uncover the blueprint to beat Sark in the Texas scheme? No.
Nope.
But he's a great coach. Can great coaches be great one day? And can other great coaches not be as great as the other coach? Somebody got to win the game. Somebody got to lose the game. It is what it is.
And if I may, when I say they have a dumb staff, I don't mean like a stupid staff. I mean like it's
they got
dumb
stupid
that
good.
they have assembled that amount of talent.
If people didn't get that in 2024, Ty, that's on them.
I know.
You never know.
Somebody might clip that, Hunter.
Yeah. Two, I agree with you, Nino. Kirby and Saban are the same in the sense of this is what we're going to do, and until you get us out of this, we're sticking with it. That's why Bama had success for an entire quarter.
Boom. Hey.
Then they adjusted. Kirby and Saban, man, they are going to do what they are going to do and prove to them you can't do this, right?
Yeah.
Look at how Texas picked apart Bama when Quinn was able to hit the deep shot. Saban didn't adjust to it because he's like, no, this is what I do. You got to take me out of it. I wish you would have done, but that's neither here nor there. Like that's the full Sark offense. Whenever you hit those deep shots, that's
beautiful when we get a quarterback who can.
Nino,
it's like watching Picasso paint.
Go ahead.
Can I say what I said up top? Now that Jay and Ty are here,
go ahead.
What's up, Jay? We're gonna do OU next, by the way, because of schedule conflicts and whatnot, and some people have some shows after this. But I said up top, I don't think since the 5 of us have been friends and business partners that we've all been down bad collectively at the same time.
On the same week.
Nobody here.
We got all here.
No, I said the same thing on my round table last night. I was like, man, they're going to give me hell this week on Friday. And then I thought about it and I was like, no, they're not.
Everybody got their ass whooped. We all lost.
Everybody just. Me, Nick, and Steven
I love y'all, man.
It was like open arms. It was like, hey.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't have my laptop charger, so if we want to do 5 minutes, I can give you just a 5-minute synopsis on what's going wrong at Bama, and then we can go to OU.
All right, cool. So 5 minutes by Ty, and then OU, because we got a lot to talk about with all the shit that's going on over there.
Yeah. This loss hurt to me more than the Vandy loss, and I know that sounds weird, but in Vandy, Bama was down, right? And against that option offense, we had a guy come on the channel, Connor, creating a YouTube channel. He's going to be fantastic. He was talking about that offense in particular is able to absolutely close the gap on talent discrepancies. You look at the Mountain West, the number 1 recruiting class has the first amount of wins. The number 2 recruiting class over the past 10 years has the number 2 amount of wins. The last ranked recruiting class in that conference has the 3rd most wins over a 10-year period because that's the offense they run. They absolutely just abolish the talent gap with that offense. Bama got down early. Against Tennessee, Bama had 3 takeaways. They had completely shut down the run game. And
that's crazy.
As much as I love Milroe, guys, he had the worst game of his college career. Like, I don't know if y'all got to watch Bama, Tennessee. If you thought Bama, Texas was bad, oh boy.
This was
bad. Boy.
Missing guys. There was so many things.
He had Jam Miller in the flat, and he threw it into the 3rd row of the stands. I mean, he had Ryan Williams wide open with listen, I'm white, so I can say this. A white safety was 10 yards away from Ryan Williams, and he overthrows him to where Ryan Williams is in the air, and it's still 5 feet above his head. He missed so much, but the offense did nothing to help him, and that's what really made me sad. Milroe threw 27 times in one half. That's not a winning recipe, especially when he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn that night. And people are like, oh, well, in the RPO game, he's pulling it, and that's why the running backs aren't getting carries. You're right, but that's where Nick Sheridan, it's on you to say, all right, never mind, this is a straight-up run. No RPO. This is a run. It was 27 truth, 27 pass attempts. 27 passes. And Ryan Williams had 20 attempts his way. And the thing is I know a lot of people are saying it's too much. The craziest part, gentlemen, is whenever y'all go back and watch this, he was open a lot. I think one of the first drives of the game, Jay will tell you, he beat that number 3 on a deep shot, and it was him and God out there running. He was overthrown. It was unbelievable. Bama, then you had the picks. You had the pick in the end zone, Ryan Williams 1-on-1, and they choose to throw a fade in the end zone to a 6-foot wide receiver. Granted, guys, I love Ryan Williams. I genuinely think he's one of the best players in college football. You have a 6'5" wide receiver on the other side of the formation, and the safety is over on the other side. 1-on-1 against a 5'10" wide receiver, and you do the other side. Right now, there's some stuff going on in the background of Alabama. I'm not going to expand upon it a lot, but for those saying DeBoer has lost control, you're wrong. There's a reason Saban retired. And the more I have found out, the more there are things in play right now. And Bama's not the only team experiencing this.
Nope.
You just look at the state of college football. There are some things going on in the background right now that are making this very difficult, and DeBoer had to walk a very fine line to keep a team together as opposed to not having more than 27 people transfer. 27 people transferred out of Alabama when he got there.
You better send that text and let me know what's going on, buddy.
You better
put it in the group chat.
In the group chat. We can talk about it. Don't even start a Discord just for this group.
Listen, I'm still optimistic. Shout out to Tennessee. What they did in the second half. Nico is one of those guys that you can't keep giving him life, right? Like, you can't keep giving Tennessee life. They're going to hurt you. That's exactly what he did. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's nothing crazy. It's just, like I said, it's college football. It's the state of college football right now.
Listen, guys. Ty Hayes is my friend. He wants to keep it PG on here. I'll say it. I'm gonna drop his nuts for him. Pause. No Diddy. Ty Hayes wants to tell you, F Tennessee, screw Rocky Top, screw all of that.
That was crazy.
And drop them on there.
Tell them how you really feel.
Bama should have won that game by a lot, and that's why this hurts more than Vandy.
Yeah,
because against Vandy,
how he feels.
I was sitting there watching, like, damn, they are kicking our ass right now. That's how I felt watching Vandy. Against Tennessee, I thought, damn, we are kicking their ass right now, but we can't get anything going. And listen, it's like I said, it's nothing crazy juicy. It's the state of college football right now.
There's a lot of things that are flowing. So, yeah, I totally get you there.
Yeah. So, but before the season, I told y'all my worst case scenario, I thought Bama would be 10-2, but I could see a 9-3 season. So, shout out Missouri. Nasty Nate's not playing and Cook is doubtful, so we'll appreciate the W if we can get it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But it's just, it's transition. Nick Saban's no longer there. It hurts. But we're human.
We're human.
Welcome to the new college football.
So that's all I have about Bama.
Nick, are we? So if we may, I'll just go ahead and open this up for you, Nick. Okay.
Go ahead, man.
We're talking about OU now.
Let's talk about OU. Yeah.
I didn't hear anything Chris said after that. No, did he?
He asked the Jay. Jay. He asked the question: Is OU in a
rebuild?
And Now, Nick, normally I would come at you and I say, Nick, the question is disrespectful, which I still think is disrespectful.
I just asked the question.
I'm just going to say this, plain and simple. No, I don't think we're in a rebuild. I do think that if you look at and this is me. I'm trying to be mature. I'm trying to be.
What
real,
does a rebuild mean
Nick.
in college football? I want to make sure we're speaking the same language.
Well,
That's fair.
That's what I'm trying to say.
No,
What
that's
does that mean?
100% a fair question.
okay. So how about this? If you're in year 3 of your head coaching gig and you're going 5-7, something's went completely off the rails. You don't have an offensive line, which is what your team's known for. You mismanaged the quarterback position. You had a prime time quarterback that came from the portal who is now the quarterback of the top team in the country. Like, those are decisions that cause rebuilds. Trust me, I know, because my Texas team has done this quite a bit over the last decade.
Mismanaged is a stretch, and I think Jay.
No, but here's
mismanaged is a stretch.
Here. No, I have a question as well, and I don't know the answer to this. Why is Tawee Walker not on roster?
DeMarco Murray.
Okay, so I then have to back up Nino. I think that OU has mismanaged the roster because I know that people have said about Venables, oh, well, it's not that he ran Gabriel off. That's not what I'm saying. I pulled up the quote from him December 13th, 2023, where he was saying, well, we didn't really expect Gabriel to come back this year. So it's not like he committed to him.
Well, so on that portion of it, and Brent Venables mentioned it, he didn't know that Dillon Gabriel was going to come back to college football. Their conversation at the beginning of the year was he was going to pro.
Where was he going to go?
Pro. That was the plan.
No, hold on.
At the point where he figured that out, then
where was he going to go after last year?
Pro. That was
I said,
the plan.
Stop. Where was he going to go after last year? It wasn't pro.
That was the conversation. Again.
How did Dan Lanning have the insight to know this?
Again. Let me give you the whole quote.
Go ahead, Jay.
Dillon Gabriel plan from the beginning of last season was going pro. At the end of the season, when he met with Brent Venables for the exit interviews, he was like, hey, I think I want to move closer to home for my last year. I'm assuming that he didn't get the grade he wanted.
Hell yeah, he didn't get the grade he wanted.
No shit, Nino. That's the point,
yeah,
right?
I mean,
he decided that he wanted to be closer to home, which he's from Hawaii.
Let me stop. I'm sorry, y'all.
We're just talking about mismanagement. That's what you say. You said
I'm telling you what was told. Venables has been asked this a few times. He answered. He's like, we did not know that him coming back was an option.
I'm talking.
Why wouldn't you pursue?
I heard Mackey say that his mom was the one that told Venables that he was leaving for the portal.
So Nino and Ty, it sounds like he wasn't coming back no matter what, is what they're trying to say.
That's kind of the point. Like, nobody wants to hear that. I'm saying, like, I think once Levy left, in his mind was, I think I'm ready to go ahead and ride. I didn't want to hold back. And as True said, and this is what Dillon Gabriel said out of his mouth, he didn't want to hold back Jackson. He was ready to go ahead and move on, get closer to home, which he's from Hawaii. Noted, Oregon is a lot closer. In a flight, he went closer to home. That was his plan. I'll be honest, based upon the way Brent responded, he would have liked to have had Dillon another year just to have another veteran presence.
Yeah,
but he didn't know that was an option.
Yeah.
How is Oregon closer to? I mean, you still got to go over the ocean.
A flight from Dallas to Hawaii is 5 hours from Dallas. From Oregon, it's probably 3.
Utah, Oregon, Cali. Come on, man. There's a lot of Polynesian wine, whatever you want to say.
I'm just saying, whenever we look,
just say you want to be around that like you. Don't say you want.
Regardless though, to the point though, OU's not in a rebuild. The defense is perfectly fine. A lot of the things that you see, especially statistically, as you like to go off of, you could say, hey, that's really indicative of this offense of what's going on right now. They're put in some really bad situations, having to account for that. A lot of different things that you didn't see go right this year. On paper, theoretically speaking, thought that Seth Luttrell would work out. It did not work out. Last week and Ty, just to piggyback off of what you said, that loss hurt more than the Tennessee loss and the Texas loss, simply because at one point in that game, I felt like offensively we gave up. And that was simply when Latrell started running slants. I said, oh my God, why am I saying that, people? Because Latrell's offenses don't run slants. They're not characteristically built on slants. They don't have slant routes in them. Broke that down with the guys from the championship standard this week before the season started. And I was like, are we going to see a lot of slants? We're going to see these jet sweeps, different things like that, poking fun at Levy, which was crazy. And you're just sitting there thinking in that game, and like we're basically at a point now with Latrell where we're just trying to figure out different ways to move the ball 2 or 3 yards. We can't do it running the ball most of the time. We can't do it this other way. You still got to think, as far as this rebuild, and we're jumping on that, there are a lot of injuries going on right now.
No, 100%.
Right now, offensive line has been hurt. We got guys really honestly playing out of position. I feel like, hey, maybe if Caden Green is here, that helps a little bit on the left side of the ball. He's benched up there at Missouri. It's just been a lot of different.
Which is kind of wild to me that he got benched at Missouri. I did not expect that. That was not on my bingo card.
I had a comment on one of my last videos that I did, and I was like, man, that is a crazy comment. And think about that. Bill Bedenbaugh has put a bunch of players in the league that you could say, hey, those guys still had a bunch of eligibility left. And so some of these other guys, Savion Byrd, some of the transfers, guys like that, it's just been a rough patch with development of just a tad bit. I guess I can say that. And the offensive line, for whatever it's worth, the classes that we've had in the past have now really come down and affected us. But as far as being a rebuild, no, I don't think that if you go and hire the right OC, yes, that's going to fix some things. It's not going to fix everything overnight, because there's a lot of work that you got to do with those 2 young quarterbacks, or possibly going and getting you a portal quarterback. There's a lot of work that needs to be done offensively, but there are some quick fixes. And next year, if you're getting Gibson, Andrell Anthony back healthy, you're getting Nick Anderson back healthy, Burks, guys like that. If you're getting those guys back with these young guys who have gotten time, the Kearneys of the world, Raggins, if you're getting those guys back, yeah. Now the Tawee thing, you could say that was mishandled a bit. But we feel like we have better backs. But, man, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, like Ty said, behind the scenes and all the rest of that stuff. I'm hearing it from everywhere. But it's one of those things where OU is not in a rebuild. But right now, I will say it is fucking terrible on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't know necessarily where you go or how you fix it this year, because Joe Judge, I lost all faith. Like I said, when I saw those, I'll let Jay go. When I saw them run those slant routes, I said, oh my freaking God, he's giving up because he doesn't run slants. I was like, what is
I made the right choice. And when I saw Oklahoma from an offensive play caller perspective put a tight end who can't block, I'm sorry, Sharp can't block. I said this after y'all's spring game.
No, he can't.
He can't. And y'all said, you know what's genius? Let's put him on one of the best edge rushers in the SEC against a freshman quarterback back there. That's when I was like, Seth Latrell has to go now, because doctors get fined and sued for malpractice for less than this. So y'all made the right choice.
You're not wrong. You're not
y'all
wrong there
made the
at
right
all.
choice. I have more faith now moving forward in y'all.
It's hilarious. Gabe Eicher literally said on the preview of South Carolina, this was his quote: "Do not put a tight end on Kyle Kennard. Do not let a running back or a tight end block Dylan Stewart. No. It will not go well." That's literally how he said it on his breakdown of it. And so to me, Nino, to your question, are we in a rebuild? No. We're not on a rebuild for the entire team. We do need to rebuild the offense now.
That's fair.
And the reason we have to rebuild the offense is I don't think the players are bad. I think we lost a dramatic amount of confidence because of the malpractice that we had in the situation.
I think
the hope was continuity from playbook to the next year. Now, granted, as mentioned, you lose your top 5 wide receivers, shit kind of changes. You kind of got to figure out how to shift it.
That's true.
That hurt, right? That hurt. Burks was able to try to pick up some slack, but at a certain point, if everybody they started bracketing Deion Burks as the season was going on. That Tennessee game, they started bracketing dude. They knew, stop him. You ain't got to worry about nothing because all the dudes are too young to try to figure it out, or they just coming off injuries and they're still trying to figure out their lives. Then when you go through 4 centers in 3 games,
yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That literally kills you. Jay. And so for us, if we would have came into this season, because this was my outlook coming into the year, the wide receivers was going to make up for all the issues that the quarterback was going to have because the quarterbacks are young.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to make up for just about anything because they know how to get open. They know how to make space, play in zones, all of that. But then you lose 4 of them. And it's like, shit. Well, now the quarterback's going to have to grow up. Then the linemen go out. I'm like, well, if you want to be honest, he about to get toasted. And as Chris mentioned, a lot of dudes have to play out of position because we're hurt. So next year, unfortunately, we have to hope that people are healthy and we portal some dudes in to go along with all the young guys we've got coming in. Jay, because I don't want to play a whole bunch of young dudes next season at all. I'm terrified of that now. I've got PTSD.
Here's what hurts the most, and this is where we're at least me as an OU fan. This is what sucks the most about our offense under Seth Littrell. It's the fact that Kearney, Raggins, guys like that are guys, right? Kerry Carrion, they're guys, right? It's the fact that 3 things, and the last one is what really hurt me. The first is the fact that you come out there every game and you just truly have no identity. Every game is just a different game plan. Second off, it does feel like the only identity that we can say that you have is the fact that you're marrying your concepts with Levy's concepts. When your concepts down there in North Texas were north-south, get down the field, very aggressive, inside run game, strong with that, and we get guys to run through the trash and get open, get out in the open, goes try to score a touchdown. That was your offense. It was very basic and it was very straight to the point. So the third thing that hurts the most at watching this offense is the fact that even at the very core concepts of football, you can't even run that. You can't even run simple offense just to move the ball up the field. The Texas game plan, I sat there and I said, what the hell are we running? When I saw them come out and they ran the sprint draw run, I said, oh my God. Well, Brent, if you want to do that, just go tell Tony Elliott just to send us their tape because that's what Clemson did a whole time. And we're not Clemson. We're not that.
Yeah,
I'm like, why are you running your quarterback out of the damn play? Why are you doing all these sprint draw runs and this and that? I'm like, if I want to watch triple option, I'll just go to Audubon. That's all they do. They don't pass the ball. Like, what are we doing? Like, it just got to the point where it just felt like we can't even run a simple offense. Not this complicated stuff, not RPO, not none of that. We can't even just run a base offense, a basic install, just to move the ball. Like you're playing a true freshman who needs all the help in the world. And on top of that, I sat there with Texas fans. I sat there with OU fans all around me, and everybody said the same thing. It wasn't, oh my God, OU's getting killed. It was this. Man, y'all got to throw the ball down the damn field. Like, what are y'all doing? Like I said, this
is my problem with it. This is
one last thing. This offense can be described as an East Coast, West Coast rap beef because it's nothing up north, it's nothing up south, it's side to side.
It's side to side.
It ain't shit that's happening up north. I'm like, bro, just throw the damn ball down the field. You got to make them respect you. And if you don't make them respect you, why are you... I'm like, man, I was like, Texas might as well play Taft the whole game. I was like, just so he can increase his stock. Because I was like, ain't nobody else out here.
I have a question after you do, Nino.
Go ahead.
So this is my only question, and I'm not beating up on you guys, Chris, but this is BB's 3rd year, right?
Yeah.
2 out of the 3 years he's had.
BB?
Yeah.
Beatonbow?
No. V.
Talking about Venables.
BV. Oh, BV. They said BB. My bad. That's why.
This is 2 out of the 3 years where he's had a problem in the quarterback room. The first year when Texas won the game, you had to go to who was it? Booty?
Bevel had to play because Booty couldn't play that game.
There you go. And then this year in year 3, so year 1 is I can give it. That's fine with year 1, right? But now having the same thing in year 3 is, the only depth you have behind Jackson is a true freshman. Well, I shouldn't say the only. You got Casey Thompson over there, but
does he have a knee?
I don't know.
Don't you let him lick my ligament?
But no, that's my only thing. That's my only thing because his defense is a good defense, right? And so
they've developed along the 3-year track as well.
Yeah. They have been very, very good. Just like on that nice track, it's almost a waste to them if you can't get the offensive side of the ball.
Well, and then you lose pieces on the defense.
Yeah.
Key pieces on the defense this year. So, while I think that there's talent there, is the defense going to be better next year whenever you lose some key guys in the secondary and your defensive leader? I'm not worried about the linebacker room because, Jay, I think
Kip 6, baby. Kip 6.
Secondary wise.
Yeah, you're big on Kip and
y'all
guys there.
Secondary is where I'm already looking at them like I don't know that that's the strength of your defense, but I
think we add to it.
Nick that I think that the defense collectively will be better next year because you got to think.
I think the secondary will be much better. The linebackers will be a push.
Yeah.
I think you'll see a slight drop because Stutzman really is good, right? He's playing himself into a day 2, maybe late first round look. He's playing himself at least day 2, so that's going to be a drop. Unless Kip decides he adds another 10 pounds and the dude goes out there and forces himself into a day 2 pick. That one you're going to have to struggle. The defensive line will be more experienced as well. So
will they be bigger?
Yeah. Everybody else is now pushing about 315 at this point.
I got to hop off, guys. My laptop is dying and I don't have
It's dying on us. And I know that Nino needed to go too, right?
Yeah. I got to hop off in a minute, but yeah, man.
We'll see. We'll be able to talk more about it this week. I'm actually back. I'm not traveling no more for work for the next.
Yeah, I see you guys on Friday too.
But whoever's here from OU, I have one last question before we sign off. Yep. Jackson Arnold is starting against Ole Miss this week, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So people talking about next season. What do you need to see going forward to say, okay, this is because I feel like next season, this is going to sound crazy. If I'm BV, this is just me. If I'm BV, next season starts now.
Yeah, agree. I think he's doing the same thing.
Yeah, these are auditions right now. Right now are auditions.
Staff on and off the field. Staff too.
Yeah,
I agree. Staff as well as players. This is your audition now.
So we're on the same page there. I think that's
show me what you about when the chips are on the table. Show me what you about when the chips are
So Jackson Arnold, hey, new life. You have an opportunity to re-earn your job, right? Or what have you. What else do you guys need to – what do you need to see from him? And what else do you need to see the rest – because you can't solve problems, but you can find players, right, the rest of the season. The Ole Miss game, for example, you guys are, 20.5-point dogs on the road. So you're playing with house money at this point. It's like, all right, people think we're going to get blown out. Let me find some guys. What's y'all's take away from
exactly?
To me, it's I need to see him take command of the offense. Now it appears that things are going to be easier now because the OC is actually going to scheme things to make things easier in comparison to the last guy who just liked to run into walls constantly. That's what I need to see. I need to see a better command just of the offense and being calm. He's going to deal with the ridiculous defensive line rush once again because SEC. Because Walter Nolan's one of the best players in the country right now. The way he's playing, he's playing really good. He's playing himself into a first-round pick, early first round. So I just need to see calmness there. I need to see them getting rid of the ball quickly. If we can do that, I think. Chris Paul is he's a threat, but I think that the linebacker room there isn't as good as the defensive line. And I think the secondary with Amos is ridiculous. He's going to bracket whoever he feels like the best one. But I think the other corner, who's given up a lot of big plays, can still be susceptible to guys that are at least fast enough to run past them. I just need you to get rid of the dang ball. Just get rid of the ball. Boom. You know you're going to get hit. That was the one thing I'd give to Arnold over Hawkins, is that Jackson Arnold would throw the ball and get leveled. Hawkins would tuck immediately and lay down. Yeah. And that is not – he didn't against South Carolina. That's where the interception came from. But initially, that was one of the problems I had with Hawk, was he would immediately tuck when he knew he was going to get hit, where Arnold would just throw that thing and then he'd get hit and the ball would fly somewhere. So hopefully we get rid of the ball quickly, but that's what I need to see. I need to see getting rid of the ball. I think
that's true.
All right. I need to see consistency is the biggest thing. Not only from drive to drive, but in drive. Need to see first downs. And that goes into you can summarize it just by saying taking command of the offense, but not even that. I just need to see him just be decisive as well. I think asking for him to move up in the pocket to maneuver the pocket, like we talked about with Quinn earlier, I think that's maybe asking a lot at this stage. Yeah. But I would just like to see consistency as from play to play, right? More of we know that you can stretch the field. We know that you have a big arm. We know that you can make the plays, but we need to see you make the plays. Here is the funny thing, guys, that I think nobody's really talking about. 28 points, whatever the case may be, and that very well may happen, okay? That very well may happen. But it's funny because you still have to think about it. At the end of the day, it's JJF versus 4th and Golding. Because at times, right now, this is the perfect storm, right? You could say BV and Kiffin, you could say they kind of just X each other out. That's going to be a great little chess match in itself to see who breaks first, whatever the case may be, right? But on the other side of the ball, we don't know what the hell Golding is going to do. we feel like, yeah, just come out there and run base defense, force them into 3 and outs, in turnovers, whatever the case may be. They'll do that, and that's perfectly fine, and that's what will get you to win. But we all know, as y'all love it, y'all talking about Walter Nolan, he may be your strong safety that game all damn day because of what Golding wants to do with just being exotic, right? So that's going to be an interesting thing because I think Golding will give Jackson opportunities to move the ball. And also, as much as y'all were talking about Amos, I'm not the biggest fan of Amos. I just not. I think he's a diva, and I think that he's susceptible. In one of the games they lost, it was the Kentucky game. He was killing them. He was killing that defense. Like, he kept getting penalty after penalty, all the rest of this stuff. But regardless, though, I think there will be opportunities to move the ball. We just got to take them. But I don't have that much hope in JJF and what he's doing or whatnot. But as far as what I want to see from Jackson is just consistency. I think that's the main thing. From play to play, from drive to drive, moving the offense and getting us in the right calls, right positions, all the rest of that stuff. We all know what you're dealing with. You know, you don't have your top guys. Offensive line is a wreck, whatever the case may be. You got to do what you got to do. I just want to see toughness and consistency. I think that's all we can ask for at this point.
All right. Well, folks, man, look, it's been about an hour and 15 minutes. I got to hop out here, but appreciate you guys, man. Chris just left. Oh, yeah, he got an 8:15. Appreciate you guys for for hopping on, man.
Chris comment, subscribe to the channel. He told us
he just didn't bounce, y'all. But yeah, man, thanks. And
it's gonna be apparent, unfortunately.
Listen to us on the Bleacher Report this Friday, folks. And then after the game, after the Texas game this weekend, listen to me on Bleacher Report as well. I know Steven has his show on Wednesdays. Jay is on Locked On Sooners, plus his own channel, Unfair Sports. So, man, we're all over the place giving some of the best college content that you can get, man. And you guys can catch me on a few of the channels. I was on Inside Texas a couple times last week, too. So, so shout out to them, too, as well. But, yeah, man, horns always up, man. We out of here. Jay, don't put them horns down.